Hello guys, meet again with Queen MMA. The MMA battle arena is undeniable, it's a brutal battle arena. Not infrequently the television channels that broadcast this match have to make the screen black and white when showing MMA matches. Likewise boxing matches, even from the results of research, data reveals that boxing has a higher risk of injury and death. Although, both of them still have a big risk of severe injuries such as dislocation or fracture. But the longer the fans are getting bigger and bigger. But what if the two fighters, between boxing and MMA, were met? Surely the crossover fight of the two boxers will be the attention of all fans, both from MMA and from boxing. Here are 5 fights between MMA versus the most legendary boxing. But before we continue, please press the subscribe button and activate the bell, so as not to miss other interesting news from Queen MMA. 1. Evander Hollyfield vs Victor Belfort, boxing formats. World boxing legend Evander Hollyfield returned to the ring for the first time in a decade on the week of September 12, 2021. The match took place at Seminole Hard Rock, Hollywood, Florida, United States. In the Hollyfield vs Belfort, which was planned to last for 8 rounds, with 2 minutes in each round. Hollyfield, the boxing legend, will fight Victor Belfort, MMA fighter who graduated from UFC. There was actually a slight gap in this match, as the then 44-year-old Belfort was battling Hollyfield, who would turn 59 next month. Not surprisingly, Belfort won in a short time over Hollyfield, in 1:49 seconds, in the first round. Previously, Belfort had twice brought down Evander Hollyfield through an uppercut and a jab, before the referee stopped the fight with technical knockout. Initially, the fight was slated to see Oscar De La Hoya vs Victor Belfort, but Oscar was exposed to COVID-19, so the match was replaced by Evander Hollyfield. The match also featured former United States President Donald Trump as a guest commentator. 2. Anderson Silva vs Tito Ortiz, format boxing. Before the main match of Hollyfield vs Belfort began, 2 UFC legends first appeared who fought in a boxing format. They are Anderson Silva vs Tito Ortiz. In the duel promoted by Triller, the fight between the 2 living legends of the UFC ended in a surprise. The reason is, the Spider Anderson Silva managed to hit the knockout Tito Ortiz in the first round. Even though Ortiz appeared very aggressive with his various combination strokes, it finally made Anderson cornered. However, Silva did not lose his reflexes and speed to keep up with Ortiz's domineering attack. Finally, Silva gets a chance to hit Ortiz in the chin, then lands another extra punch that knocks Ortiz unconscious. Ortiz was unable to beat the referee's 10 counts before regaining consciousness, so the fight ended with a win over Anderson Silva, with a technical knockout in the first round, in 81 seconds. Versus Julio Cesar Chavez. 3 months earlier, Anderson Silva had defeated former boxing champion Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. at Jalisco Stadium, Guadalajara, Mexico on June 19, 2021. Throughout the match, Anderson continued to trouble Chavez with a combination of punches and agile foot movements. Anderson was able to serve Chavez until the 8th round, until finally, the battle was won by Anderson Silva with a point victory. Anderson's victory was very natural, considering that Anderson was previously a boxing athlete, but it was a long time ago, even before Anderson Silva entered the world of MMA. 3. Floyd Mayweather vs Conor McGregor, boxing format. Floyd Mayweather is a 12-time world boxing champion in 5 classes, while Conor McGregor is a champion in 2 different weight classes in the UFC. Their fight was planned to last 12 rounds, with Mayweather being 40 at the time, and Conor being 29 at the time. Previously, McGregor had boasted and believed that he could knock out Mayweather in 2 rounds. But for Mayweather, this is the high point of his career as a boxer, where he could set his record, going 50-0 unbeaten. Likewise, Mayweather insisted he would not go far to beat Conor, and he did. The Money managed to beat the Notorious in the 10th round of the planned 12 rounds. In the ring, Conor became very aggressive in the early rounds. As this was his first fight in boxing, Conor was still struggling to adjust. Several times Conor was seen being warned by the referee for embracing from the side, as well as attacking the head, which was tightly covered by a double cover. At that time Conor fought with an open defense, but often threw lightning strikes in row 3 or 4 times. On the other hand, Mayweather with a defensive and hitting style managed to bring Conor into his trap. Exhausted, Conor alternately attacked with combination after combination. It was clear that Mayweather was hunting for KO, with blow after blow to the head of the opponent. Entering the 10th round, Mayweather could smell blood, and he managed to land a few punches on the head before a wobbly Conor was finally saved by the referee. 4. Ricardo Mayorga vs. Wesley Tiffer, MMA format. Ricardo Mayorga vs. Wesley Tiffer took place on Friday, 3 May 2013 in Managua, Nicaragua. Ricardo Mayorga is a former second world heavyweight champion from Nicaragua, while Wesley Tiffer is a Nicaraguan MMA fighter at featherweight. After arriving at a weight of 20 pounds over the specified weight, Mayorga was finally allowed into the MMA ring for the first time. Mayorga was declared victorious over Wesley after successfully getting out of the armbar triangle lock, and then by kicking the opponent's back, then landing several punches before the referee stopped the fight in the 3rd round. While Mayorga was celebrating the win, Tiffer and his team were furious because it was clear attacking the opponent's back was illegal. Finally, Tiffer appealed the contest results. After a week of deliberation, the commission decided that Mayorga's knee attack was indeed illegal. The final decision was that Rito Mayorga's MMA win was changed to no contest, and he was suspended from competition for 3 months. After the Nicaraguan MMA Commission considered Mayorga's knee strike to land illegally on the opponent's back. 5. James Toney vs. Randy Couture, MMA format. James Toney is a former world champion in middle to heavyweight boxing, while Randy Couture is an MMA legend. This cross-sports martial arts match took place on August 28, 2010, at UFC 118, at TD Garden, Boston, Massachusetts, United States. Toney is a professional boxer with no mixed martial arts experience at all. He decides to step into the octagon, where he will finally know what will happen to him. Actually, Toney knows that no one gets into MMA without studying at least 2 different martial arts disciplines. Toney, firmly convinced that the power of the punch alone would lead him to victory that night. He says that wearing only 5 ounces MMA gloves instead of 12-ounce boxing gloves will increase his speed and strength. If only this was a boxing match, Toney would destroy Couture in 1 round, but Couture did not underestimate the world of boxing as opposed to Toney, who underestimated the world of MMA. In the ring, Toney received a strong response from Couture. In less than 1 minute, Couture easily knocked Toney down and didn't allow the boxing champion to get back up. The picture then was Toney, who was a boxer with a 72-6-3 record and 2 without a contest, was mauled by an MMA home champion. The fight left 15,000 spectators standing and screaming excitedly. Bonus fights. 1. Ray Mercer vs. Tim Sylvia, MMA format. Toney did lose against Couture, but the boxing world also has its own honor. It was when former world heavyweight champion Ray Mercer shocked the MMA world when he brutally defeated former UFC heavyweight champion Tim Sylvia in an MMA crossover fight. The fight didn't last long, as Ray Mercer managed to get a knockout and ended the fight in just 9 seconds. Yet, the world of boxing got its honor at that time. 2. Muhammad Ali vs. Antonio Inoki. Perhaps this is the first crossover fight where decades ago, Muhammad Ali created a sensation by facing a wrestler from Japan. But unfortunately, the duel between the 2 best people in their respective fields did not go according to everyone's expectations, or maybe except for Inoki. Unlike the crossover fight we discussed earlier, the Ali vs Inoki fight this time uses a special rule known as hybrid martial arts. However, it turns out that this rule is what makes the fight run unattractive, boring, and looks funny. The label of the fight at that time was the Battle of the Century and was predicted to be watched by 1.4 billion people. However, what happens in the ring throughout 15 rounds is something that is really boring and disappointing. To find out what happened in Ali vs Inoki, watch more here. Well, that's 5 cross-branch fights in martial arts, MMA versus boxing ever. In your opinion, guys, which one was the most exciting among the matches? Share your opinion in the comments column. Like if it's useful, and shares it with your friends so they know. See you in other videos. See ya.